Okay, in this program, we're going to have a look at classes within classes, which allows us to see how different accessor and mutator methods work. So I'm going to create an artist class. And the artist class is going to store information about a band. So for example, the name of the band, the genre of the band, and perhaps how long their set is, if you were to make a festival or something, which is how I'm going to plan to use this. So you want to know how long each band can play for. Then I've got a constructor method. I'm not going to bother with the default because I know I'm going to put information in. I've got a get name, a get genre, a get length, and I'm going to have a toString method which returns it all in a beautiful format. Nothing too exciting so far. I guess if I was going to be really good about this, I could put in a mutator method that changes the set length as they have more albums, but it's not really relevant for this program. Okay, now I'm going to create a new Java class called events, which stores the details about event. I'm going to create 3 artists that are going to play at my event. So artist 1 is an artist. Artist 2 is an artist. And the thing to note here, as we put in artist 3, is it's private artist. So I'm actually saying that the variable is a class name. Okay, so this instance variable is of the type class artist. Then I create a constructor method for the event, which takes in 3 artists and adds them. And then I went back and decided that probably a good idea to name the event. But yeah, so you can have classes as variable types, as I've done here, and you pass them in through the constructor method just as you do anything else, and you assign them to the instance variables just as you would do anything else. Now, I'm going to have public string to string, which returns the name of the concert, and the artists. Okay, so again, notice that I can call on the artist methods from within the event class. So I'm saying get name, because I don't want to put all the information. Artist 2 got get name, so I'm calling the methods. Because I'm in the event method, I need it. Now in real life, you put this in an array, but AP Computer Science doesn't teach things in a necessarily most logical order. Therefore, we're not allowed to know about arrays yet. So we shall not know about arrays yet. But you would never code this program this way. I'm just telling you now that you wouldn't, so you don't think I'm the world's worst coder once we get to the array part of the course. Okay, so back in my class. And now want to have a method in the event class that compares 2 artists. Okay, so I want to have a compare 2. And I want to be able to compare artist 1 to artist 2, or artist 2 to artist 3. And I want to be able to compare them perhaps by name, perhaps by genre, perhaps by set length. It depends how I want to, but I'm probably going to go by genre to make sure that my event has the same kind of vibe throughout all bands. To do this, because I'm in the event class, I have to access the private accessor methods of the artist. So artist1.getGenre.equals artist2.getGenre. Then I return true. These people, the same kind of vibe, right? I want them both together. So in this situation, I'm comparing in the event class. So I have to supply 2 artists to be compared against each other. I could also supply 3, I could supply 4, but to keep it simple, I'm supplying 2. Now, I need a main method to run everything. So I'm going to create main, and then I realized that I need to return an artist, because otherwise I can't call the compare to method from the main class. So I actually have to get the artist from the event class in order to make the comparison. Now, as I said before, you would normally have this in an array and you would pass the array in, and then you would just get the artist at whatever number was passed in. But if the user calls the mutator, the accessor method, and they have send in a 1, I'm going to return artist1. If they send in a 2, I'm going to return artist2. And if they send in a 3, I'm going to return artist3. Now my main method, I'm going to create a main method. Okay, so the driver method to run the class. Then I'm going to construct an event by calling the constructor method. Again, I don't have the default constructor, so I have to pass in artist1, artist2, artist3, and the event name. So say new artist. And you know I'm going to go with Ghost and Grandson and the Deftones because they are my 3 favourite bands. And I have no imagination. This we know about Miss Stevenson. So I can just call the new artist constructor method inside the constructor method for event. So I can do this all in one line, which is quite handy. That's my neighbour outside shoveling snow, so you can get his car and his car drive. Just in case you're wondering what that was. And the event name is Lindsay's Dream Festival. Okay, so now I want to compare some artists to see if they are the same. So I'm going to get artist1 and assign it to a temp variable temp1. And as you know from the getArtist method, if I type in 1, it returns artist1. If I type in 2, it returns artist2. If I type in 3, it returns artist3. Okay, now I'm going to make the comparison in the event class. So I need to pass in 2 artists. So compare artist temp1 and temp2. And if I run it, they check and they're like, no, they do not match. They're not the same genre. They cannot be in your festival together. Okay, so now I'm going to try it. And this time it's true, because artist 3 and artist 2 do have the same genre. Now, another way I can do this, instead of having it in the event class, is I could place this in the artist class, where the artist has to decide if another artist that it gains access to is the same as it. So, we're in the artist class, and this time we're going to have public compare to. But this time, the artist object is going to compare it to another artist object that is being passed in. The cool thing about this is we do not have to use get methods or set methods. Okay, so we can say this genre or genre equals artist.genre. We can access the variables directly because the artist class is within another artist class, and because they love each other, you can see each other's variables. Okay? So I'm saying in the Boolean class, does my genre match the genre of the one that's being passed in? And then we can use the artist class to compare them. Easier because we do not have to use accessor methods because they're all of the same type. It's also a different way of doing it. It's more encapsulated because that means that the artist class has always got its own compare to method, so it can be used in other classes and compare itself. So now if I say temp1, so I call the method compare to in temp1, so temp1.compare artist to temp2, so I'm calling the temp1 compare artist and I'm passing in temp2, and they're false, they do not match. But if I make it number 2 and 3, which we know match, so I'm saying to number 3, are you the same as number 2, and it matches. This just shows us a lot of ways of doing different things, so you have to decide what works best for you when you're trying to work out these situations.